Okay, Assalamu alaikum once again. This is a new video, but of the same topic, that is quadratic expressions and equations. Now, today we're going to look on about factorization, and in case you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly do so without further ado. Now, we have a question like this where you've been told factorize the following quadratic expressions: x squared plus 4x plus 3. Okay, and how do you factorize such a an expression? Now, uh, we have something called sum product and factors, is SPF. So your sum is how much, your product is how much, and which are your factors. So your sum is basically the b, the one that is in the middle, which is plus 4. Don't take the x, just take the coefficient of x, that is 4. And your product, if the coefficient for x squared is 1, then your product is just the last number there, as long as the coefficient for x squared is 1, that is. So your product is 3. Now you ask yourself, there are such two numbers, that is a and b, that if you multiply those numbers, if you add those numbers, you get 4. And if you multiply those same two numbers, it gives you a product of 3. Now, which are those two numbers? Okay, which are those two numbers? Now, if you look at the products, the combined products for 3, or numbers that if you multiply gives you 3, is just 3 and 1, so no other number. So now if you take 3 and 1, 3 times 1 gives you 3, and if you add them also, it gives you 4. So because plus 3 plus 1 gives you 4, so the only factors are 3 and 1. If you multiply these two numbers, gives you 3. If you add those two numbers as well, will give you 4. Okay, so yeah, so once you get something like this, it's very easy to factorize. So you have your factors. There's a long way and there's a short way. The short way is, once you get your factors, just do x plus 3 and x plus 1. Now, there's also the long way, which you need to be taught as well, something that you've been taught at school. Now, what you once you get the factors, it means the 4 is divided into two numbers, that is 3x and the 1x. Those are the two factors, right? So you get x squared plus 3x plus 1x, which is just x plus 3. And now you factorize into two groups, this and this. The common factor for the first group is x into bracket x plus 3. Okay, if you do x squared divided by x, eat up by x. Now 3x divided by x gives you 3. And now if you factorize the second group, the common factor for that is 1. Okay, there's no other number apart from 1. There's no letter that usually is in x and 3. And the only number is 1. So 1 into bracket x plus 3. And then therefore your answer will be x plus 1. You take the numbers that are behind the brackets, x and 1, and you just write one of the repeated numbers, which is x plus 3. That is your answer. Okay, we have another question like this, question B, where it says x squared minus 5x minus 24. So again, we find the sum, product, and then the factors. Now, for the sum, obviously, the sum is going to be negative 5. The product, just likewise, I said, if the coefficient for x squared is 1, then your product is just negative 24. And what are the two factors? Now let's find the combinations for negative 24. For negative 24, we have a lot of combinations. That is, if you multiply two numbers to give you negative 24, then those numbers can either be negative 1 and 24, or 1 and negative 24, or it can have 2 and negative 12, or negative 2 and 12. You can have you can also have, let me just write it here on the right side. We can have 3 and negative 8, negative 3 and 8. We have 6 and negative 4, and negative 6 and 4. Now, out of all those combinations that we've written it, which one usually when it's added, it gives you a sum of negative 5? And those two numbers are obviously is 3 and negative 8. So yeah, so your two factors are supposed to be 3 and negative 8. So at the end of the day, you know your answer is going to be x plus 3 and x minus 8. the very simplest way of knowing. But if you want to go the long way, then you can also do that. Okay, then if you go the long way, obviously the negative 5x is going to be divided into plus 3x, that is the factors, and negative 8x, that is this one as well. But just really don't forget to add the x minus 24. So collect the like terms, so it's going to be x, factor it out, x into bracket x plus 3. Then you have minus x 8, because 8 goes into this, and this is going to be minus 8 into bracket x plus 3. And obviously you'd get the same thing, x minus 8 and x plus 3, which is just the same thing. If you rewrite it, it's going to give you the same way that we did it, simpler. Now what if the last one, you can pause, and this is not the last one, you're still doing one more question, but you pause the video and try it by yourself. Now if you have something like this, again the same thing, your sum is basically negative 3, your product is negative 2, and obviously your factors, which are your factors. Now which number, if I multiply, gives me negative 2, if I add those same two numbers, it gives me negative 3. So the only combinations for negative 2 is negative 2 and 1, or 2 and negative 1, because if you multiply this, 2 gives you obviously negative 2. Now which one of them, if you add them up, is supposed to give you obviously supposed to give you, if I'm not wrong, supposed to give you negative 3. Which of those two numbers, which two numbers are those? Now if I look at this, there's a bit of an error. This one is not supposed to be minus 2s squared, it's supposed to be plus 2s squared, and therefore this product is going to be plus 2. Okay, it's going to be plus 2, which is obviously that way, and therefore the products, let me just wrap this. Now your product is 2, means that you either multiply 2, positive 2 and 1, or minus 2 and minus 1. And if you look at this one, if you add them, gives you negative 3, which satisfies the sum rule. So, and therefore you're going to get minus 2 minus 1. Now when you're factorizing the simpler way, you're going to get t minus 2s, and the other one as t minus s. That gives you that one above. The reason behind it is because it's negative 3st, and therefore this should be t and s in the beginning and also the end. Now the longest way, obviously you're doing t squared minus 3st is going to be subdivided into minus 2st, utaigawanya into minus 2 na minus 1st, ukitaka andika tu hivi, then plus 2s squared. If you factorize this, common factor is t, so you're going to write t minus 2s, because if you take this divide by this, you're going to get 2. You're going to get t, and if you take this divide by this, you're just left with 2s. And the common factor, or you factorize this one as well, the common factor is minus s, and you're going to get minus 1 divided by negative s. Obviously you're going to get positive t, and for other one, 2s squared divided by minus s, you're going to get minus 2s, and that is why you're going to get t minus s and t minus 2s. So whichever one that you'd use, you're just getting the same correct thing. So yeah, let's go to the other question. Now for the last one, which is p squared minus 4q squared. Now this one looks like the quadratic identity for a squared minus b squared there, and we say that if you factorize this, you get a plus b times a minus b. So the simplest way of doing such a question is just you square root the first one, because since it's p squared minus 4q squared, okay, you just square root the first one, you square root the second one. A square root of p squared gives you p, a square root of 4q squared gives you 2q. So one will be negative and the other one will be p plus 2q. So that's the simplest. Or use the longest way, which I don't prefer students to use, but just in case that they don't understand. So since we have p squared minus 4q squared, now your sum is basically 0 because you don't have anything in the middle, and your product is still -4. Okay, which are the two numbers? If you add, gives you 0. If you multiply, gives you -4. That is -2 and +2. Those are your factors then. Let me just wrap this. Those are your factors. You say that 2 and -2, and therefore the middle numbers are going to be b squared plus 2pq minus 2pq minus 4q squared. Factorize this. The common factor here is p. It's going to be p plus 2q, and the other one is going to be, the common factor is -2, -2q, and you're going to get p plus 2q. So, and therefore you're going to get the same exact thing that we did, p minus 2q and p plus 2q. Yep. Now let's try this one, where the coefficient for x squared is now more than 1. Okay, because if you see here, it's more than 1. It's not x squared only, it's 2x squared, and therefore you'll use the same approach, but now somehow becomes different a little bit. Now SPF, your sum is basically, you say it is 7. Now your product will differ. It's going to be your A times your C, and you say your sum is B. So your product is going to be A times C, which is 2 times 3. 2 times 3, which is equal to 6. Okay, so product is just basically 6. So what are your factors? Now come to the product. The only combinations are 1, 6. We have 2, 3. Just only those. So which two numbers, if I add, gives me 7? Just 1 and 6. So the common factors are 1 and 6. Now this has no simpler. There's no shortcut. The shortcut that I might teach you might confuse you, but I just go to for the longest way. So basically, we subdivide the 7x into 1x and 6x. So you're going to get 2x squared plus x, which is 1x plus 6x plus 3. So factorize the x. So you get x into bracket 2x plus 1. If you factorize this, divide by this gives you 2x, and x divided by x is going to be 1. Now factorize this one as well. The common factor is 2. Therefore, it's going to give you 3. No, the common factor is 3. Sorry for that. And therefore, you're going to get 2x plus 1. So 6x divided by 3 is 2x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Bring this together. It's going to be x plus 3 and 2x plus 1. And this is your answer. Now let's use this now. Let's come to the next question. If you know this, just pause the video and do it by yourself. Now also this one, your sum and then your product. Your sum is basically 5. Your product is 4 times -6, okay, which is -24. Say your product is 4 times -6. This is -24. Now, which two numbers, if I add them together, gives me 5? The same two numbers, if I multiply, gives me -24. Now, let's search for the combinations for the product side, -24. We have 1 and -24, obviously, or -1 and 24. 2 and -12, or -2 and +12. We have 3 and -8, or -8 and 3. Okay, and I think no, sorry, supposed to be -3 and +8. We also have 6, -4, -6 and 4. I think that is enough. Now which two numbers, if I add out of the two combinations, which two numbers if I add gives me +5? And that is this -3 and 8. And therefore we're going to do so we know our factor is -3 and 8. So just wrap this whole thing. Okay, so our factors are -3 and 8, and therefore the 5b, so we'll write 4b squared. The 5b is going to be subdivided into -3b plus 8b. minus 6. Now factorize this. If you factorize this, it's going to be b into bracket 4b minus 3. And if you factorize this, it's going to give you 2 into bracket 4b minus 3 as well. And then collect it together, b plus 2 into bracket 4b minus 3. And that is that. So you get something like this. Now let's try the last one, factorize this. Very simple question. Now for this one is as the same like a squared minus b squared. So let's write it in this form first. So you get 16p squared minus 4 can be written as 2 squared. Okay, so the only thing that you need to do is just square root this and square root this. If you square root that one, gives you 4p, and if you square root 2 squared, it's going to give you 2. So in short, you already done this. So 4p minus 2 and 4p plus 2. So very simple. Just square root the first one, or you can also square root this, and it's going to give you the same exact thing. It's going to give you one to be 4p minus 2 and the other one to be 4p plus 2. Because of this root quadratic identity, a plus b, a minus b, and that is why your answer will be this answer. So I can teach you the long way, but I prefer not to. Just in case you've seen the long way, just go back and see how you solve using the long way. Tamam. So but all in all, hopefully you've imekufaidisha lesson. Subscribe to our channel and wait for more. So don't see talking, because there will be other subtopics of quadratic expressions coming through.